Hey guys, welcome back to Clownfish TV. This is Neon. I am here with Geeky Sparkles.
Hello.
And Merry Christmas Eve to you.
Yes, Merry Christmas Eve.
Yeah, so we're gonna do a couple of videos today. We're gonna have a video for you tomorrow, but we're not gonna have a lot of stuff next week.
No, because we're not working tomorrow.
No, we work 7 days a week.
We're tired.
Very tired, but we're tired of this too. We're gonna talk about this article on Screen Rant. It was published a couple days ago. That manga has always been political Western readers, just never realized it.
Yeah, I saw that you had shared this, and I was surprised about the amount of likes and retweets and everything else, but holy shit.
Yeah, it got like 3,000 likes. I did not expect it to do that well. I didn't even think it was worth covering, because we'll talk about this. It seems like the media now is trying to double down again on calling out fans, comic book fans and movie fans and video game fans, and it could have something to do with the decline in digital media, or just that they're losing their shit.
It could be. I don't know. It just seems like we put these activist types in as writers, that's what they focus on at all times. So we have people being happy that we're not getting politics shoved into shows so much, and then here comes these pieces, and it's like, really?
Yeah, because it's like they can't stand that the pendulum is swinging. I've talked about it before, and we've seen a lot of examples of that this year. Just, even with Sony recently in the last couple of weeks, Spider-Man, No Way Home, and Ghostbusters Afterlife both have been crowd-pleasing shows. We've seen a lot of decisions being walked back. Kickstarter, which was being gate-kept by activists, now is pissing them off because they're like, yeah, we're going to use blockchain and we're going to license our technology out and anybody can use it. A lot of little decisions like that, and
oh yeah, well, in this person's, I'm not gonna go to their Twitter, but I noticed in their Twitter they don't like crypto and all that crap either.
Yeah, so it's all interconnected. Basically, these people have had they've had the rule of the roost for the last 5 or 6 years now. They kind of came in on the anti-Trump wave, and they've mingled that with the politics, with their hot takes on pop culture. And that worked for a while, but as we're seeing, a lot of these websites are not doing well. And we can tell you, and we've talked about before in other videos, that there was definitely a change over the summer with Google. The ad rates have dropped off a cliff.
Well, I think people are just tired of it.
They are tired of it. People just want to be entertained. Yeah.
Yeah, I think they're just tired of the bullshit.
So let's talk about this. Before we get into it any further, please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants, guys. We're over 248,000 subs. We're hoping for 250,000 by the end of the year. If you guys could hit that subscribe button, that'd be
good. I don't know if we're going to hit it, but we're trying.
Yeah, we're trying. I know a lot of people probably aren't even watching videos over Christmas anyway, but
that's okay. We understand.
That's totally fine. Anyway, so this came from Screen Rant. And again, I didn't think it was worth doing a video on. I thought it was like, oh God, here we go. Another media outlet being stupid. And I put this up like 2 or 3 days ago. And the article had been out there a couple of days before that. And it was just like, yeah, whatever. Journos are going to journo, right?
Right. This is very typical. I just think it's worth mentioning because we're seeing it more and more.
All the buzzwords. Manga has always been political. Western readers never realized it.
No, that's not true. Western readers have realized it.
Oh,
God, what these journos? They really are so far up their own asses. They sit up on these, pedestals looking down at everybody like, what you don't know is I know more than you because I am so smart. And it's like, we know that. The difference with manga and Western stuff is because manga just makes it as part of the culture, as part of the story. They it's overt, but it's not in your face like, did you get it? Did you get it? Did you get it?
Even if it is, it's done in such a way that's still entertaining. Yeah, and
respectful.
Respectful. It's not ham-fisted. I look at Ghibli movies in particular. There are a lot of spiritual themes, environmental themes. Obviously a lot of anime and manga touches on World War II.
Well, I think it's to make you think and to make you question your own actions, but not tell you what to think and tell you how you should be.
Yeah.
I mean,
like, let's put this out there. Sometimes, and that's one thing I'll say about the Japanese, is that in a lot of ways, not always, but a lot of ways, even the villains are more nuanced. And sometimes the heroes have villainous traits.
Well,
you
for
know?
these journos thinking they're so intellectual and so above you and everything else, they write these pieces and they look like idiots.
Well, I mean, right out of the gate, Donald Trump mentioned in the first sentence.
Well, if you go to his Twitter, that's something he goes on about often or retweets about often. Yeah, remember we ripped this article apart? I'm not sorry for our soars above and beyond expectations. Same person.
Now, here's the thing.
Don't harass this person.
Yeah, do not harass this person. Now, here's the thing, too. Screen Rant, and outlets like Screen Rant, they have a lot of writers working for them, and the way that they pay, as I understand it, most of these places is they will give them a base pay for articles, and then they get paid for views on top of it.
Right. So everybody's going to this article. He's getting paid more money.
Yeah.
So, but don't harass him. Just, let him. That's what he wants you to do anyway. Don't.
Yeah. Talking about, Tezuka being anti-war.
Astro Boy. Yeah. It was obvious.
It's
it was
very
obvious the anti-war and pro-environment. God, you guys, that's like.
I can't. I said we've always known it's been done, with finesse and skill. Now, even now the big thing is well, you just hate Star Trek Discovery, but Star Trek has always been kind of progressive and left wing. No shit. Star Trek always has been.
But there's something that feels like Star Trek and then what you have now. And I think that's the problem. A lot of these current versions of beloved pop culture shows, movies, whatever, they're too busy trying to shove their politics up your ass and down your throat that they
both at the same
time.
Oh my God.
That, they don't realize that they have just completely made it not feel and taken the fans out of that environment.
I think it's kind of the difference, if you want to make the comparison in the comics, it's kind of the difference between, a well thought out Christian allegory and a Jack Chick tract, where it's in your face, you're gonna go to hell, versus let's think about this and why, was the motivation good or bad? Look at Daredevil, who's a Catholic character, and you get some nuance in there, and as he struggles with his faith to be a superhero beating the crap out of guys, look at that compared to a Jack Chick. You're gonna go to hell if you listen to rock and roll music and read Harry Potter. And that's basically what entertainment has become, is a chick tract.
Right, and the chick tracts have been mocked for years, even by Christians.
Oh yeah.
They've been mocked for years, but now they're making these outlets, these news outlets, and modern comics mocked just as much for the same damn thing.
Yeah, it's become a parody of even Star Trek. I haven't watched much of the new Star Trek. I watched a couple episodes of Picard, and I knew I was going to get angry because I'm you can never go home again. Mm-hmm. This isn't a sequel to Next Generation, and I don't even want to waste my time because I know I'm going to get angry, right? But from what I've heard about, Discovery and all of that, compared to Next Generation. Now, Next Generation, even when I was a kid, I picked up that some of the stories were they were allegories for things that were going on current year. Like the one where Wesley Crusher, the football or whatever, wound up going into the grass and he had to trample on the grass. He broke the law and they were going to kill him. It was like a parody for that kid getting caned in Singapore. Mm-hmm. And there were other stories that were just Jack Kevorkian, that was a big deal back then, assisted suicide. And they had the one where Troy's mom fell in love with the older dude, but he had to go kill himself as part of a ceremony when he turned 60 or something. Forget the episode names. People are going to be like, this is this episode and that's that episode. And it's it's been 15 years since I watched Next Gen. But that was also, an allegory for the Kevorkian situation, dying with dignity versus, and I got that, even as a kid, I got that, but the stories were done in such a way that it wasn't slapping you upside the head.
Right, it makes you think.
Yeah, it makes you think. That's a difference. The manga and anime, good manga and anime, and good stories, Star Trek and even Star Wars, whatever, comics 30 years ago, they made you think, and now they want to think for you.
Well, that's it. Back then, they didn't tell people what you had to believe. They tried to sway you with their stories, but they wouldn't tell you had to think that way. Now, they flat out tell you have to think this way, you have to vote a certain way, you have to be a certain way, and they literally get you canceled off of things, or you get, taken down or whatever, because you didn't vote the way it did, in a country that allows you to vote the way you want to. You know, it just blows my mind. But the only thing in this article, I agree with this part, but there's a difference. While some critics of the Western comic industry have viewed the recent inclusion of more LGBTQ characters as a reason for declining sales in traditional superhero comics, this is odd considering that the manga industry, while far from perfect, is often on par, even ahead of the curve, including characters with a wide variety of sexualities and genders. And they go on about Sailor Moon, you know, Uranus and Neptune, and Ghost in the Shell, and all that. Yes, that's true. We've mentioned that ourselves.
People complained about them being made cousins in the 90s.
Right.
Where have you been?
Yeah, no one's questioning that because the difference is these were new characters. They were their own characters. They were, you know, they were in there, they were done in a way that was like, oh, and by the way, no one thought anything of it. You can't have that today. No. Now they will just gender bend characters, race bend characters, sexual orientation bend characters for no damn good reason other than agenda, and then tell you you're a bigot if you question anything about it. It's not organic. It's not natural. It's just they just shove it in there for political reasons.
It's full of fillers and preservatives.
That's right.
And yeah, you like to do it all natural.
I'm just saying, you know, it's like, that's not the same thing.
No, this is stupid because the reason people are having a problem with, you know, they're saying about LGBTQ characters now is exactly what you said. It's we're taking existing characters or mantles, and it's very obvious that the only reason we're changing this character is to drive home a ham-fisted political message.
And if you don't agree with it, it's because you're some kind of horrible person. If you didn't like the characters over in Sailor Moon I don't think anything thought anything of it. It was presented in like, okay, by the way, they're lesbians. Here it's like, did you know they're lesbians? You have to love them because they're lesbians. What's your character trait? Lesbian. Who are you? Tell us about yourself. Lesbian. You know, it's like, you know, I'm tired of identity, sexual identity being your character trait. Because, you know, you're a person besides that.
It's become so stereotypical now that the joke is, what are they going to do? Replace white male character with stereotypical shaved head, black lesbian woman with blue hair or some, you know, and I'll tell you the truth. I don't see many shaved head, blue-haired black lesbian.
Except for Twitter.
On Twitter. But like you go out to a street, even a busy city street, and it's like every other, these comics would have you believe that is every other person.
Right. If you go out to a city street, and then I guarantee you it's fully diverse. There's all kinds of people who sleep with different types of people in the street. I couldn't tell you who slept with whom because it's not, they don't, because there's more to them than, by the way, I am this. And I'm so tired of it. They boil it down to the most stereotypical bullshit and then yell about everybody else being stereotyping. It's like, the reason people hate it is because it's being shoved down their throat. It's being changed for no reason other than agenda. Like, characters just are. Like, the Uranus and Neptune are just a couple, and no one thought anything of it. Actually, there was more backlash because they tried to make them cousins. People hated that over here.
Now, here's the thing. You go through this article.
Well, they hate Trump. It's on their Twitter, like, constantly.
Well, yeah. I mean, yeah. Obviously.
And they're for all them hating on politics and being political, it's always political. Of course they'd write an article like this. Their whole Twitter is nothing but politics shit all the time.
Saying manga isn't political isn't just blatantly wrong. It's disrespectful to the rich and textured worlds created by Japan's greatest mangaka. Now, that's true, but that's not every manga. That's not
what this article is actually about.
It's basically going through and cherry picking all the instances of American politics popping up in Japanese entertainment to be like, look, you right-wing bigots, look at all the anti-Trump sentiment, and like, you really have to dig. It's not like every other fucking comic compared to here in the U.S. where it's like every
because they have their own political stuff going on. They're not sitting here obsessed with America as much as you guys are obsessed with what they do. They're kicking your ass. There's a reason they're kicking your ass because they can tell good stories and put politics in it. And still be respectful to fans and still let you think for yourselves. In America, you're not allowed to think for your effing self anymore. It's whatever they tell you have to agree with, or, you know, you're a bad person.
I mean,
same with this article.
It's interesting because, you know, in the 80s we had, you know, like Ronald Reagan would be parodied and stuff, but there wasn't the obsession with Reagan and even Bush. I mean, you know, people didn't like Bush, especially during the war, but not the obsession that people have had with Trump. And now it's like, you know, again, this represents probably less than 1% of all manga series having anything to do with Western politics. Whereas here in the US, like 75% of the Western comic books being, put out touch on some
form of agenda.
Yeah, form of agenda, and it's always one side, and it's always a very extreme version of it. Like, very seldom will you find current year like a nuanced, apolitical Marvel comic story, just Spider-Man being Spider-Man. No, we got to shoehorn in some.
But when they do it like in the films, it breaks all kinds of records all over the damn place because that's what people want. I don't know what else to tell you. If you're listening to this, comic companies, journalists, blogs like Screen Rant, etc. People don't want that shit. They're tired of your shit. Just stop doing it.
They should call it Scream Rant.
Yeah, pretty much.
Scream Rant.
That's what they should call our show.
Scream Rant?
Yeah, what would be my show, actually? It would be Scream Rant. Yours is pretty calm compared to me.
Yeah.
So.
I've gotten to the point where I've actually transcended anger, I think, when it comes to this kind of stuff, because I just expect it. I used to be blindsided by it. I'm like, why the hell would the journalists write? Because, I'm still remembering pop culture blogs being the way they were in like 2008.
You mean when they actually covered pop culture and were about what was going on and not about, a warm seat for an activist to come in and push their political opinions all the time?
Even bloggers I used to read all the time, like, Heidi McDonald and stuff, have gotten really political in the last couple of years. And it's like, what the hell happened? Like, what happened? Where did Trump touch you? Because he's gone. Like,
they won't let it go.
They won't let it go, and I think it's because they saw all the hits come in for and against. It was a polarizing topic.
Well, you got, and again, like we said, you have these activist types got themselves these seats, and they just want to keep using the activism. They want to keep getting paid to spread activism. And here's the thing, what gets me mad too is that thinking of nuance. There's no nuance even in the type of readers that you're getting. Either you agree with them and you're on the side of good, or you're everybody else and you're alt-right, even if you don't lean right. It doesn't matter because you didn't agree with their far, far, far opinion. That means that you're automatically a Trump supporter, that you're MAGA hat wearing whatever that they want to call you. And there are people that are on the right who are actually decent people who, and they're like, oh, well, you're just a blah, 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 blah. And it's like, I'm so tired of hearing this. It's like, there's no nuance even in that.
Even people, and we've talked about this before, like, we used to do a lot of conventions and, we tabled next to a lot of different kinds of people. We've done panels with a lot of different kinds of people.
They don't always agree with us on everything.
No, but it used to be that you could have a conversation. Even then, like, politics very seldom came up. And there are people that, I guess I'm saying here, like, I thought this person was actually kind of our friend, or at least, we, were kind of associates, whatever. We'd always see him at cons and say, hi, how's it going? But now I'm like, oh my God, this person is like frothing on Twitter all the time about politics. Mm-hmm. This is not who they were.
They used to say, don't talk about politics and religion. And this is exactly why.
Yeah.
Because it becomes an all-consuming whatever. And now you have to put a statement out there saying what you believe, even if you don't believe it. You have to put a statement out there, putting the right things out there, or you're canceled. And it's a load of shit.
I would say the vast majority, I'm going to be completely honest here, I would say just given my experience, the vast majority of middle-of-the-road comic book creators do not believe the extreme politics, but like you said, they put it out there because they want to make sure they get hired, because the gatekeepers now are far-left activists.
They're trying to take that away from them.
Editors or, agents or publishers or whatever, so they have to signal. But I'm seeing the pendulum swing, and it is starting to come back to center, because there are some that were like really outspoken activists that were working in publishing that were, I'm not going to name names. They're no longer working in publishing. Like, they got laid off during the pandemic, and they're kind of like just a freelance consultant now.
Was the douchebag who told me I wasn't feminist enough one of those people?
No.
Oh, that's a shame.
But there are some other ones that were, I would say, gatekeepers at mainstream publishing companies that are sort of free-falling, and we saw this with Kickstarter, too.
That's okay. They'll just go online and beg for money.
Yeah, they will. Yeah, exactly, right? We'll just go beg for money. So it is starting to change, but I think this is, sort of the last gasp of activists turned journalists, trying to gatekeep shit. We're seeing a lot of, activity on Twitter. It's just completely out of left field. No pun
no one's
intended.
talking about this. And then manga's always been political. It's like, was this because comics are getting like outsold by manga like ridiculously, and they look like idiots?
Yeah, I
manga's
think so.
Kicking their ass.
I think that's part of it. Yeah.
Is that what this is about? I don't understand why. Because Spider-Man did so well because it wasn't political. People were like praising it because it wasn't political in your face. There's a lot of reasons, but I think it's hilarious when these people are like, it's always political. political, and you go to their stuff and it's all politics. I'm like, well, even if it isn't, you're going to make sure that you keep pushing that, because what else are you going to write about? Because you can't talk about anything but politics.
Well, that's just it. They built a career off of talking about nothing but politics for the last 5 or 6 years. These blogs were bankrolled by, venture capital, a lot of them, not necessarily Screen Rant, but I'm sure it did play into it somewhat. So to get the hits, you had to be polarizing. The gravy train is running out. This is the same reason why they keep bringing up The Last Jedi. Nobody gives a shit about The Last Jedi.
Oh, but they won't let it go.
They won't let go. And now Ghostbusters 2016 is coming up again. And Sony showed us exactly what they think of Ghostbusters 2016.
Just stop, because we're already seeing it. They're stepping over it.
It's over.
Just stop.
It's over.
Trump's out of office. Get a grip. Find something else to talk about. I know it's hard, but try.
You might actually have to do some honest reviews. You might have to actually maybe consider a different career path. Because
well, to them, it might be honest with you. They might honestly legitimately like something, and that's fine.
Yeah.
But they can't do it without attacking people.
Yeah, and that's where you lost credibility, and that's where a lot of these blogs lost credibility. That's why we're seeing places like Nerdist implode, because the fans, and there are a lot of comic book and manga and anime fans out there, they jump ship, and it's not all right-wingers. Just there are some people that are on the left. They're tired of hearing about politics too. They just want to get on with things. Just watch.
I think a majority of people are just tired of it. You have the extremists keeping it going, and it's like people don't want to hear it anymore. But this was like it's always been political, and it's like, are you effing kidding me? No shit. Seriously, the difference is nuance. That's the difference. The difference is respect. That's the difference. The difference is letting people think for themselves and not, shitting on them if they don't agree with you or trying to cancel them and having a little childish hissy fit because they don't agree with whatever you believe in. So, well, you clearly are a bad person because I'm a good person. So you clearly are a bad person. As I sit here on this pedestal I built for myself, looking down on you like, I'm going to tell you about this. And it's like, meanwhile, the people you're talking about have already shown up you years ago, because they could do the same thing, do it better, and do it in nuance so that people were still fans, even if it was something that was opposite of what they believed and they didn't feel attacked for it. Shocker.
Yeah, this is going to end. It's all going to end here pretty soon. So we're going to wrap it up.
Yep.
Please subscribe for more pop culture news, views, and rants, guys. We will talk to you later.
Bye.